Hello, Mark Larson for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining me. So today my guest is Stella Scott from Sweden. How are you doing, Stella?
I'm doing fine. The sun is shining, and that is always a good thing here.
That is a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing anytime, I think. So,
Yeah.
do you have a lot of cloudy days there?
I mean, this is Sweden,
Okay.
and especially in the winter. So we have had like a good summer, but we can have summers with a lot of rain. So the beginning of the summer here was quite rainy and cold, and now it's warm and nice. So we're moving into the fall, and I'm happy that it's warm.
Yes, I understand what you're talking about. So in Sweden, where do you live at in Sweden?
I live in Malmö. It's in the south of Sweden. It's very close to Denmark. So we have just a bridge in between us, between Malmö and Copenhagen. So it takes about 20-25 minutes to get to the next country.
Okay,
The next
that's so cool. So do you go to the other countries that quickly, or can you?
Rarely. It's easy, but rarely because it's quite expensive to travel on the bridge.
Really?
And yeah, so once in a while, when I moved here about 20 years ago, I went more often, but
Okay.
prices have gone up, and yeah.
No, that is neat. So where are you living? Is that where your hometown?
I was born in Stockholm, but
Okay.
I've lived here for 22 years now.
Okay.
And when I was a child, I was here a lot because my grandparents were here, and I went through medical interventions because I was born with a disability. So I had a lot of surgery down here because the best orthopedic surgeon
Okay.
about in the world
Wow.
lived here. So I was very fortunate that way.
Is that why you moved down to that area and then just to stay then? Is that why you stayed in that area? Or you just because your
No,
grandparents?
not at all. I moved to Stockholm, and then I lived in Rome, and I lived in Paris, and I lived in New York.
Wow, I didn't know. That's
I
cool.
did all the place. But basically, Stockholm is like my hometown where I was born, and I lived there for about 30 years. I went to school there and everything.
Nice. So what did you? And do you like? Did you like Paris and Rome then?
Yeah, Rome is like that's my second home.
Is it
Absolutely.
okay?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I was not that fond of Paris. I mean, it has a very romantic shimmer about it, but um, the Parisians are not as warm and welcoming as the Romans
Okay.
or the Italian in general. You go to the same coffee shop twice, and you're like you're part of the family.
Oh, is that? Yeah, that
Yeah,
works.
and it's really good. I also my Italian is better than my French. I speak both,
Okay.
but I have a warmer feeling. Also, the thing is that I lived in Italy as a child,
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
and I went to school there. My brother was born there, so I have a more emotional connection to Italy and to the language and to the culture in general. And the food. There's sometimes I can think it comes a smell, and it's like, oh, that's Italy, and
I hear you. I know what you mean.
a sense or the taste of something. So yeah.
No, Italy. I love Italy. So in Sweden, what do you do?
Oh, that's a big question.
What don't you do?
Stella Scott, the astrologer, but I'm also a coach and a therapist, and I've done this for about 30 years. I'm a Gestalt therapist, and I've worked as a teacher. I'm also an opera singer, so I've been working at the Royal College of Music in Stockholm, where I've been teaching. I started out as a dancer, so my
Okay.
first company was a dance company. That was in my 20s. That's when I came back home from Pratt Institute School of Fine Arts in Brooklyn, New York, where I studied,
Wow.
and then I came back home to Sweden and started this dance company. And so we worked with that in that 6 women for about 6 years. We did that, and then
Okay.
I moved on into personal development. And yeah, but I continue with being in the arts and singing, and yeah, so lots of things.
That's neat. So you talk about New York. Did you like New York?
When I lived, this is a long time ago. I mean, this is
Okay.
45 years ago.
Okay.
But that's a very different place. And when
Yeah.
I was going over there, my grandmother was so worried because the rate of criminality and everything was like so high. That was its
Yes.
reputation was this is a dangerous place. Don't go there.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And then things have changed in the meantime. But what I really loved about it is because I was studying theater, is that it was
Right.
everything there. And if you, when we were studying a play, you could, most of the time you could find it somewhere on Broadway, off Broadway, off
I
Broadway.
think that's
There would
true.
be something by some great master in theater, and you could see any film, and oh, you would like look into
Yeah.
Bergman or
Yeah.
Japanese film, anything, and you could just find it there somewhere. You would find the
Yeah.
film you wanted to see.
I bet. Yeah, I bet. Never been there, but I'm sure.
Yeah.
No,
So,
that sounds.
that way I felt really at home because it was a lot of like culture that I could absorb. But there was also this feeling of being always being on alert
Okay. Yeah, I
because
can understand that.
on the subway, don't. As my father's wife said, never ever sleep on the subway, Stella. You always have to keep watch. Also, okay, keep watch.
And I think that's good wisdom. I think that was a lot of wisdom there. So yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
totally. They knew what they were talking about, and I was like a young girl or a young woman, and it's like, okay, I'm out on an adventure here. I'm going to stay here for a few years, and how am I going to do it? So they advised me and said, don't do this, don't do that, do this.
all good. So how many years were you there?
I lived there for 2 years.
Okay.
My plan was to stay for 4, but because there is this interesting thing that in Sweden we have free tuition for university.
Wow. That is awesome.
100% free tuition. You pay for your books, and you can get a student loan for living costs.
Oh, sure.
The education is 100% free. So I was so surprised when I got to the States because it was like, oh, and then it's going to cost this. It was like, what?
A lot.
You pay? What is this? So
And
that
you
was
pay
my
a lot.
first year with the privilege of living in a country where you have free medical care, free education, and all kinds of things that are embedded into the tax money. So we really get something from
You
the
do.
tax. That also creates a very equal society where everybody can get an education. So I only could stay for 2 years. I was very privileged though, because after the first year, my school instituted a new scholarship because they wanted
Okay.
to. So they did not have any scholarships for international students, so they instituted one that you could have for a year, and that way. So my father paid for the first year, and then the second year was actually paid by Pratt Institute.
That was great.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I was just so wow, yeah.
It's nice
But
when
it
it
was
works that way.
it was a fantastic school, and I learned so much about being on stage and how to work. Both because of the education itself, the teachers, they were all
Right.
professionals working in different theaters, and because I had this possibility to visit and see everything we were doing. I could see it live. I could see
Yeah.
I could see the theater, the plays. I could visit all the museums. I mean, all these things. It was an
Firsthand, yeah.
amazing educational experience those 2 years.
So did you go to a lot of plays like on Broadway, or did you do a lot of that?
Not so much Broadway, more off Broadway and off Broadway, but yes, a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
Well, you're there. That's the time to do it. That's for sure.
Yeah. It really was a part of the education, because if you study theater, you need to learn about theater. If you study a playwright, you want to see what that play looks like on stage.
Yes, exactly.
And that was so fantastic that it was just possible. Sometimes you couldn't see that exact play, but you could see something else, but by the same.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that. So, is there any place in Sweden that has like plays, or like Stockholm or any city that has?
Oh yes, I mean absolutely. I mean, yeah, we have a lot of theater, and we also have a good reputation when it comes to stage. We have a lot of very famous opera singers, which is amazing because we're such a small country. But one of the reasons that we have that is because of the free education. So we've had like free music schools from when you're a child, and that is what there's like this Swedish. I mean, ABBA. Everybody knows ABBA, and we have so much. In all genres, and we have producers and everything, and sometimes people don't even know that they're Swedish, but they come from this miraculous musical education that is free in Sweden, and from there you can really get the talent out into the world.
It's a win-win. I mean, it's such a
Yeah,
good deal. I mean,
yeah.
how hard would Cheryl and I have to work to get to becoming Swedish? Oh my gosh, that is amazing and all that.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't realize you got, I think the medical I knew, but I didn't realize the tuition and everything. That is just
yeah.
amazing.
We don't have to go into detail, but there's a lot of stuff here that people don't understand. It's like, oh.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, exactly.
when it comes to music, the music industry is our biggest export.
Really? That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, considering we have so much
Believe
more.
that.
I mean, Volvo. I think it was bought, but Volvo was Swedish, and Saab is Swedish.
Uh-huh.
We have a lot of inventions that people don't even know were Swedish, like the Bluetooth is Swedish, for instance.
Really?
Yeah.
That is amazing. And I mean,
Yeah,
that's
the pacemaker is Swedish.
really okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, gee, really, you just don't think about that. All the stuff that comes from like Sweden and stuff like that. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. You don't talk about it, but it's when you get into to see what are Swedish inventions. The three pointed safety belt in cars. Is Swedish.
right. Okay. And I think
Yes.
that's for worldwide where you go. That's, pretty much been adopted there. So,
Yeah, and the reason it's worldwide is because they did not apply for a patent for it because they wanted to save lives. So it was for everyone to use in any car, anytime.
that
They
is such
could
a great, I love that.
But the attitude was no, people have to survive.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
I love it. That's the way it should be. That is very
that's
much.
the way it should be.
So, where you're at in Sweden, besides, what do you do in your free time where you're at now?
Well, I used to say life is my hobby.
Hey, I hear that. That's
So
good.
for everything I do in my work as a coach, as a therapist, as a singer,
Right.
everything has always been plan A for me. I don't have a plan B. I never
Cool.
had a plan.
Awesome.
So with that, like free time, in a way, then I don't have free time or I don't have any hobbies because I do what I love and I, in a way, I work a lot, but I also play a lot because
Okay.
that's my life.
Great.
It's kind of different, but I'm different.
Well, and the difference good. There's so much of the same in the world anyway. So different is very good. Plus, when you love it, most people don't do what they love. So
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And I work primarily with women in leadership positions.
okay.
They have come to a point in life where they have the salary or the position, the children and the house
Right.
and the dog and the car and everything. But they still feel like there is more here. Why?
Yes.
Why does it feel empty inside? Why am I not fulfilled? So because I feel fulfilled, I feel full of me and happy. I'm a happy person, even when I cry. And the reason I'm happy when I cry is because I'm true to myself. So what I work with is to help these women come to a point where they actually fall in love with themselves, where they can look themselves in the mirror and say, I want to be her.
That is so cool. I mean, that is be able to get people to that place or women to that place. I mean, that is just. So, how do you get women to that place?
It's a process and it takes time, and you got to have
bet.
courage. You got to have the courage to leave behind, not necessarily your job, because this is not really about changing career. It's about finding who are you within where you're at. Perhaps you want to stay at your job. Perhaps you want to change job. A lot
Right.
of the time in these areas, people say or think that you have to change everything. That you have to change. That's not necessarily the truth. Perhaps you are doing the right thing, but
Right.
in the core is not there. And sometimes people need to leave, but that creates a position where you have to change from inside. And
Okay.
change, you get scared because you survived in this mode, and this is how you
Yes.
created your life. And what's going to happen if I change? And what will people say? And some
Right.
people
Exactly.
will not be happy. Some people would say you become so selfish, and why are you doing this? And why don't you think about that? So it's a question of what is my identity and how do I present
Hmm.
myself to the world. I did a very short video
Okay.
yesterday, was on LinkedIn, where I was actually talking about this and say change is something you got to immerse yourself in. You cannot change
I
and stay
agree.
in the same place, and you cannot change and look from afar and hope that it's going to happen over there.
Yeah.
It's right here. That's where the
Mhm.
change has to happen.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
that can be scary. So I'm a guide, and you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest the
Sure.
time, the courage. You also have to invest money and
Sure.
actually do the work.
Right.
Not do it for you. It's like going to the gym. No one can lift the weights for you.
That is true. Very true.
And it's really the same thing.
Yeah.
And my experience is also that when you do things or offer things for free or at a low cost, you get this. Might sound weird. You get a worse client because they are not invested. It has to be at a point where they invest in themselves, not
Yes.
in me.
Yes.
And if the price tag is too low, they will expect me to do the work for them.
And I can believe that. Well, people don't value free. It's just
No,
like,
they don't.
can
No.
this be if it's going to be free? So I hear
Well,
what
so
you're saying.
the price tag has to be so high that you value yourself,
Yes, I would agree.
and so that way, because I did had to travel that road, where I said you gotta raise your prices because the transformation that I offer becomes better for them. I become
Mhm.
better. They become better for themselves.
Right. Right.
So it's this is in my field. It's an issue because some
Really.
people
Okay.
are like I can't charge that much, and what will people think, and then people can't get the help. It's like but people don't get the if you're too low, people don't get the help anyways because
True.
you have to risk, and that is the thing.
You
In
do.
Gestalt, you talk about risking being alive. You have to take risks,
Yep.
uh, and sometimes the risk is financial.
Yep.
Sometimes the risk is your relationship. Sometimes the risk is your work. But you got to
True.
risk being alive because if you don't, you will get that empty feeling within.
And I love that. That's a great statement because you don't, and life is a risk. You go out, you get out of bed in the morning, it's a risk. You never know.
Exactly. You got it totally right.
Yeah.
And also every morning is a opportunity
It
to
is.
invest in yourself. And now I'm not talking about money, but just to invest in yourself, in your capacities and everything. So I also find it very important to nourish yourself uh,
Yes.
in different ways, and that could be nourish yourself with having a good position where you feel good and you like the work you're doing, or
True.
nourish yourself by having a podcast as you
Yes.
do,
Yes.
and having this conversation. I'm enjoying it. I think you're enjoying it too.
Yes, I am definitely enjoying it.
So
Yes.
this is also nourishment, just to get up and say, I
Yes.
have the opportunity today. I have the privilege to be
Yes.
alive and put on something. I mean, I'm wearing this. I love this one.
Hmm.
Uh, and I never wear anything that I don't like.
Yeah,
That I
I'm
don't.
with you.
So there's so many details about because I'm still answering the question, how do you get them there? So
True.
these are the details that you have to like get into
Yeah,
and say how. It's not only like I'm going to sit here and meditate myself into this. It's physical because life is physical.
it is. And kind of just taking actions and just getting into that, because I used to be where I put on what I ever thought everybody else wanted me to wear. And it's like, I don't care anymore. I wear whatever I want to do it. You know, it's just living true to yourself. Because I think deep down, some people I think have forgotten what their true self is, but it's just like, I never liked wearing that or whatever, doing that anyway. And it's like, why did you do that? And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's very interesting when you start seeing the other side of it. It's like all that stuff that so very interesting. So how long have you been doing this?
I I've been a coach and a therapist for 30 years.
Really awesome.
Yeah. And then I got to a point. I had my second Saturn return. I had my first Saturn return. I'm going to tell you what it is soon.
Okay.
I had my first Saturn return, and that's when I left the dancing and got into opera and therapy.
Okay.
And then I had about 30 years later, I had my second Saturn return, and that's when astrology came and knocked on my door.
Oh, really?
I had
Okay.
been
Awesome.
in astrology before, but you can't do everything, and that was a painful insight when I was a young woman to realize that there are so many things that I will never ever be able to do.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that then, like 45, 50 years ago, they published 600,000 books a year in the world.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't read them all.
Yeah. Even if you started right now. Yeah. No, even if you say, oh my gosh.
So that's when I realized that everything that I would like to do and that I'm interested in and that I feel calling to even won't be accessible in this lifetime.
True.
And astrology was one of those things that I had to put on the back burner, and I didn't know if I was ever going to come back to it. I was like interested in all kinds of things, so I had to put that away, and then on YouTube it started to like show up on in the. It was like, why? And I didn't understand. More and more and more and more.
Right.
And I was looking at other things that were like perhaps sort of connected, but nothing that was actually astrology. But it was like, and then everything was astrology. And when I was like, are you trying to tell me something?
Yep.
It's like, okay. So I clicked. And I did not resonate with what was going on. And then I was like, perhaps I had the wrong birth time of myself because I have all the records that I was looking at. I had the record for my delivery too. And there it said when I was born. So I calculated it, and it was like, oh, it was the wrong time. I'm not a Pisces rising. I'm a Pisces moon and a Scorpio rising. Not Scorpio rising. Capricorn rising. And then I checked the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was very interesting. And I just completely, totally immersed myself and went through the Cosmic Academy of Astrology.
Really?
And now I give professional astrology readings, and it's amazing. And I'm a beginner. I'm as one of my mentors used to say, I'm a baby astrologer.
Astrology. I did it more when we previously chatted. I mean, it is amazing what astrology. I mean, it's just the more I know, the more I want to know. It's just, it is very much so. So we're going back to coaching. So how do people find you? How many people do you coach, and how do people find you?
Most people find me online.
Okay.
LinkedIn, that's where I hang out the most. I've started. I'm going back sort of somewhat to Facebook and see how I'm going to use it. I had 4.5 years when I did not, almost 5, that when I just closed down Facebook 100%. So now I'm back there again. I don't know exactly how I'm going to use it, but people find me on LinkedIn, and I do live sends on LinkedIn, Cosmic Strategies, where I talk about astrology, and I sometimes do some interviews, and I'm thinking of how to evolve that. But I've done a lot of live sends, also hundreds on Facebook before. So that is the most common way, or people recommend me. But the people will they will follow me. They will be lurkers, and they will follow me. And then it's so funny because I ran into someone recently here in Malmö, and she said, "Oh yes, and I saw this and that and this and that," and I was like, "You did?" I had no idea. So we are like connected on LinkedIn, but I had no idea that she was actually following my.
You never know.
Yeah. So, yeah.
No, I mean, it's amazing the people you influence that you don't realize you're doing too. I mean, it's just amazing.
That's exactly it. So you have to be very mindful and careful with what you share and how you share it, because it says something about you. It really is. I don't have a brand. Oh yes, you do. We all have a brand.
We do. Yes.
And also use astrology for that. So that's one of the things that I'm thinking of if I will move into more to help women with their style and brand,
Okay.
because astrology points you in a certain direction, and when you use that, you become more visible and
True.
more defined. And I have noticed that for myself, and I have noticed that for clients. Some clients are like, "Holy cow, I had no idea," and you can see it. I see a video with them. It's like, "Whoa, this is a new woman! Wow!"
Yeah.
You can see how the moon is shining through, or how the fire that they perhaps were lacking, and how they're like using that fire to put more emphasis on the fire, and like they just start to shine. It's like
Yeah.
amazing.
No, it is, and I think isn't Mercury retrograde over with now, or close to being over with? So that's a good. I believe that's a very good thing.
Yeah, I think it's the 27th today, so it's on the 28th. I don't know. Yeah, but
So,
yeah, it's very soon. Thank goodness it's
yeah, I 100% agree. Especially after last week, yes. So, but no, astrology. People think it's kind of woo woo, but it's not. And when we talked previously, I know my dad got my chart and everything done, and it was just it's like
yeah,
that's me. Explain me. Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just so do you have an age group that you kind of stick with, or just women all the time?
I would say women 40 plus,
Okay,
because
okay,
when you come to that point in life, that's usually when you feel like, and also you get into it's a transformational phase in women's lives.
okay.
Your hormones change, your body changes, all of those things that really play a very big part in a woman's life, like her body
Yeah,
starts to behave differently. You get into menopause, perimenopause first. So all those things that are part of the big change that happens. Now I know also that there are astrological things that happen between 42 and
really.
60.
Wow. Okay.
And I did a live send on LinkedIn about that, like how you can see that when you have your Uranus opposition, and then
Hmm.
you have your Saturn return, and then you have a Saturn return, like
Hmm.
way that in the 60s. I mean, when you see all these things come together, it's like, oh, this is what's going on. This is what is happening. So
Yes.
I've gone through it myself. I'm 65, so I have gone through these phases, and therefore
Hmm.
also very apt to guide women through
Right.
phases
Right.
I've been through myself. And I think that is one of the things also when you go with someone. I've said this for many many years. No matter what you do, you got to go with someone who's ahead of you. If you're gonna take singing lessons, you got to go with someone who's ahead of you. If you're gonna learn programming, you got to go with someone who's ahead of you and who
You do.
stays ahead of you.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if they don't stay ahead, then you have to change teacher.
Exactly. Yes.
So that is one of the things for me as a coach, as a teacher, as a whatever, is that I have to consistently evolve and develop, and I have to have my own guides and coaches
True.
to be sure that I am moving ahead
Yep.
with me, that my
Yes.
process is constantly moving ahead. So that when you look for someone, no matter what you're going to do, look for someone who is ahead of you, that you know is ahead of you. Not only that
Right.
says they're ahead, because a lot of people say they are ahead, but
They
they're
do.
not.
They exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you do, and that's and a lot of people that say they're ahead. I mean, a lot of people just don't learn anymore. They get to the point it's like, well, I've got that, whatever, and it's just like I don't need to do anymore. And it's like, no, especially in today's world, as much as stuff really
Yeah.
um,
Yes, absolutely.
advances.
Yeah, totally.
No, so okay, I love this thing with the horse or this that the astrology, if I can say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yes.
I mean, so what else have you not done that you want to still do in your life?
Such a good question. What have I not done that I would still like to do? Oh, well, I would like to. There are some languages that I would like to learn.
Okay.
I would to get my Italian back into like a better shape. So I have not. I would like to have a place in Italy, preferably Sardinia.
Nice.
Sardinia, yeah, so that I can go back and forth because I love Sweden and I'd love to be here in the summer because the summer in Sweden is fantastic.
That sounds like a good plan.
Then in the winter, it would be fantastic to be.
Yes, see, I hear you.
So that is something I really would like to do. And then I am very interested in. At this time, it's like almost controversial to say, but I long to go to Ukraine, and
Really?
I would like,
Okay.
yeah, I would like to learn the
Awesome.
Ukrainian language and sing Ukrainian songs.
Wow. So
Uh,
I
and
have
I
to ask,
have,
why Ukraine? Why specifically that country?
uh, well, I have not had any relationship, but something happened with the invasion. Something really, it's just unexplainable and super profound.
Okay.
That suddenly made me understand certain things about me. I believe in previous lives.
Me too.
So I had certain things that suddenly got. I could like connect things. It was like, oh, that is experiences I had when I was 10, and it was like, aha. So it's something about that. It feels like I want. Yeah, and this chokes me up. Yeah, it really chokes me up. I want to go back. It's so weird.
I understand what you're saying
It's
now.
so weird.
Okay.
But that's the feeling. I want to go back, and I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I definitely
I
understand what
still
you're
have
saying.
exact memories of that. It's
Right.
in previous lifetimes, but there's something about this that I just understand that I have to go back. And when I
Wow.
look at, because there's something called astrocartography, and you can
Okay.
see. I'm not versed in that, but you can see certain lines go through places in the world. Uh, and I would like, and since I was, there was a thriller called Tecknamn Odessa. I read it in Swedish.
Okay.
Or something. I don't remember the writer, the author. Um, but all I could remember was Odessa, and it's like I had to go to Odessa, uh, and I cannot explain it. It's just
I know what you're saying, and it would be almost impossible to explain. It's just it's a feeling. It's just it's
yeah,
I mean, you know what the word is I'm looking for, but it's just yeah, I understand what you're saying. From a yeah, it's just like it feels like home in a previous life or a
yeah,
previous life.
yes, in a way.
Um,
And I don't feel as with Italy, and that I feel like that's my second home, and I could like live there half of the time.
right,
That's
right.
how I feel, but Ukraine. Perhaps if when I get there, when this horrible war is over and I get there, perhaps I will feel that way. But it more feels like it's a place that I want to go. But back to Odessa, it's like I have Capricorn is a very strong sign for me, and Saturn. So my Saturn is going through Odessa. It's like my Saturn line is going through Odessa.
Wow. Okay.
So, okay,
Yeah. Now
interesting.
you.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah.
There's so many that people don't know about, you know, and it's just we live on such a superficial level. I mean, we just live on just barely touching the surface, and I think it's to a point sad that people don't get further down into really who they are and what they, you know. I have to say that because I for many decades I was that way, and I'm just grateful that I'm not that way anymore, and that I was chosen, called, whatever the what I was on, the path I was on brought me to today,
And you
and
can probably see it in your chart. You can, if you look at, because the great magic with astrology is not the chart in itself. Most people get a
okay,
chart reading and then they put it away, and that's shelf help. But if you have your chart, and then you can see and work with how the planets are moving now, how the
okay,
transits are moving, and how they are affecting you, and that is the magic, because you can see and understand what's coming,
oh wow,
uh, and prepare. And sometimes
right,
say, "Oh, big challenge coming here."
right,
Uh,
which is a
I
nice
would
thing
say,
to
but oh,
prepare
I
for.
something here. I I saved my home financially because of astrology.
Wow, That's
we
amazing and epic and everything else. That's wow.
saw that. Oops! Here I have a not Pluto, a Uranus square coming up here, and I
Is
could see that it was affecting my financial situation, and I was like,
okay.
oops, I have to change the people helping me with my business and my company. I have to. I could just feel that this is not good. So I did that. I changed that, and
Right.
then it came.
Uh-huh.
And because I had changed, I got help, real help.
Okay.
Finally, the tax, they came and said, "Hey, we want $9,000," and I was like, "Ooh!" And the reason
Yeah.
they
Yes.
had not done their work properly, so I was indebted with $9,000. So of course I still had to pay, but they helped me to do it. Yeah, it was. Had I not changed, I would not sit here in this home.
Wow. I mean, that is. I mean, gosh. How do people find you to do astrology? Same way as with your coaching?
Could you repeat that?
So, how do people, if they wanted something with your area of astrology, how do people contact you on that? Same way as your coaching?
Same thing. And what I do now, right away, because I started to study in the fall 2019.
Okay.
When I started to work with my clients, the coaching clients I had right away. I said, "Do you have your chart? Do you have your?"
Uh-huh.
And then I looked into the chart, and then I could see things. And so I have been working with clients right away from day one, before I even went through the training. I started to look at. I have a talent for this. So the thing of integrating coaching with astrology is very natural to me. So I do astro coaching if they are interested.
Okay.
I have a course, Class of Vintage Mastery, where I help women to understand that we need to use, and the wardrobe cannot be filled with new stuff. We have to use what we already have, and
Yes.
stop secondhand. That does not. We have to stop the overconsumption and overproduction, because we already have enough clothing for the planet for the next coming 6 generations.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is just has to stop. So women have to learn to look at clothing in a different way, and to look at how do I renew myself, and so in a way that is congruent with me and classic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with that, I say if they want to take that, they can have they get 30 minutes with me with something they want to work with. And so if you want to work on, we can look at your chart, and with that, then we can also see, as I said before, that you can look at styling and branding, and what do you have in your chart that will help you stand out more visually, and how do you feel more congruent with yourself. Is it more flowy materials? Is it more structured? I feel very good in suits. I wear jackets all the time. In fact, I feel very comfortable. I mean, I can do somersaults and that. It's very. But that is my Saturn in Capricorn in my first house. It's like, oh yes,
there you go. No wonder. Yes. Oh gosh.
But then at the same time, of course, I have other influences too. So I have a Scorpionic touch to it, because I have my MC in Scorpio, and it's very, very close conjunct Jupiter. So that also gives another edge to my appearance. And then I have my moon in Pisces. So if you look at these different areas of your life, how do you present yourself to the world? And when you land in that, magic happens, and you feel so much better with yourself, with your body, with how you dress yourself, and your body becomes happy, because you really have to communicate with your body. The way I look at the body is that she is her own entity, and you have to talk to her. I ask my body every morning, what do you want to wear?
Hey, I gotta try that. I gotta definitely try that. I love that. Okay. No, this is so awesome. I mean, it's so. So, do you speak on stage, or do you do with everything you do? Are you in front of people on stage talking about?
I have done that. What happened with COVID is that everything just stalled. Networking live stalled. Doing presentations and speaking in front of people.
Everything.
So what I want to do now is that I want to come back because what happened is that short story, I got burned out. I burnt out. Not because I don't feel good with myself, but because it was so stressful with this whole thing. The financial thing that I was talking about was so
Right.
stressful, and suddenly clients just disappeared
I bet. Yeah.
because COVID, because everybody was locked in their own little chamber. But now I'm sort of back in
Yes.
my vibe, and I feel better. I mean, I'm in a way because I have the astrology. The astrology has really helped me to
Hmm.
find parts of me that was not as home with and not as brave with. I would also say because as we've been into before, it's a constant journey.
Oh,
So this
yes.
is me at 85. Who is Stella at 85? I'm looking forward.
Mhm. Me me
So,
too.
hmm?
Me too. I'm definitely looking forward. I mean, it's just, yeah, especially when you get in that mindset of just like, I wonder what's next.
Yeah,
It's just, it
yeah,
is, and people are like, what?
yeah. Dare
And
to explore.
yeah, and I'm 61, so I'm not that far behind you. And people are like, aren't you going to retire? It's like, why would I ever want to retire? Especially when I'm doing something I love, you know?
Yeah,
And it's just like, because I see people retire, and it's just like, especially I don't know if it's in Sweden, but in this country, they start dying because their work was their whole identity.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, why would you ever want to do that? Or they do their one trip that they saved up their whole life maybe to go do, and it's just, um, no, I'm ready for the journey. I tell people, like I told the guy in New York that's going to be on the podcast later. He asked my age, and I was like, forget the age, just forget it. I don't feel my age. I'm very blessed that way, but I try to take care of that too. So,
yeah. I have a lot to say about age.
okay,
Uh, when people say age is just a number,
yep,
I find that insulting.
really,
Yeah, I find it insulting because I've been here for 65 years. I have
right,
a experience. I know a lot of
true,
stuff that I could
right,
not know when I was 30. So for me, it's also a way of like dismantling what you actually have with you.
right.
It's
I like
part of
that.
your power. It's part of your brand. It's part of your
True.
of your wisdom. How did you gain it? You gained it through age, through
Mhm.
time, through experiences that
Yes.
you have layered on top of each other, and that you have different perspectives because you have seen things from different angles. And when you say age is just a number, it's like an excuse for not being young.
True. That's true. I like that. I never thought it that way.
Yeah, and it's like just stop it. Whatever age you have, it's that's the age. And I
Yes.
am 65 and I feel 65 because this is my version of 65. It's not anyone else's. But I cannot sit here and say I feel like 38 because I'm not. How could I
Right.
possibly feel like 38? I have
Right.
38 to 65, I have a lot of years.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, me
had a
too.
lot of experiences, people I met, sorrows, disasters,
Yes.
joyful experiences, travel, all of that happened.
Right.
And then I'm going to pretend that it's just a number? No, it's not. It's my life I'm talking about. When I
It
say
is.
age,
Yes. Yes.
I am dismantling my own life. No, thank you. That's not going to happen.
I love that perspective. Now you changed my whole perspective in just those couple minutes there. I love that. Yes. I mean that is, and that is. Yep. I won't say that just a number again ever. So
That's
I will
also
stick it out to you. So
it's just good. I have a hashtag on LinkedIn that I excuse me that I created myself, and it's unexpected perspectives because I do this all the time. And I've heard this from people all the time
uh-huh.
that I haven't said that before. I never thought about it that way.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you for the confirmation.
Yeah. No, you did, and very
Yeah.
quickly. And
Yeah. And
it's
that is one of the things that also happens when people come to me and I work with them is that they usually have a shift of perspectives in the first session.
wow.
That is a shift. That is not a fix. There is no quick fix. I don't know, I don't care what people say. There is no quick fix,
Sure.
but there is quick shift. And if you work through different shift and you shift and you shift, eventually you get to a fix. Then you fixed it.
Okay.
But then you have a new thing that you will have to fix. So you will have to go through a new
Yes,
cycle.
yes, very, very
At
true.
the same time, you will do things on different levels and in different areas of your life. So let's say that you don't feel like the woman I met recently here that was following me on LinkedIn, that
Uh-huh.
she did not feel happy with what she was wearing. She said, I'm trying, but I don't feel like that. And I said, well,
Hmm.
perhaps you should take my class, because this is a part of who you are. Your body, this is another one of my pet peeves. Your body
Hmm.
is a spiritual vehicle.
Okay. Yes.
Your body is the only reason your soul came here.
Really? Okay.
Without the body, you can do nothing. You cannot meditate, you can do no yoga, and you cannot program your computer, and you cannot drink tea, and you cannot have
Right.
sex, and
Right.
you can travel, and you can do nothing. So
Right.
your body is your temple. And I think that the body is not the place where the soul lives. For me, the body lives within the soul.
Gosh, I love that too. You're just changing all my perspectives here. So I I'm gonna
So
remember this podcast forever. So this is, I
that's
mean,
good.
I love
That's
that.
good. And if your listeners feel like, well, that's an interesting woman, feel free to contact me. Tell me that you met me here through Mark, and feel free to contact me.
No, and I love that. And before we end the podcast, I have to ask, what was your dream growing up as a girl? I mean, as a little girl, what were your?
Oh, well, I would say that my dream was to be able to walk, because
Oh yeah,
I
I
was
can do that.
born with club feet, and I had to learn to walk
Wow,
5 times. And from that, I mean, the next step of that was my dream. I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be
nice.
a classic ballet dancer, which that was not possible because of the shape and the weakness of my feet in so many ways,
Okay.
and my legs in general. But that was my dream. Then I was also dreaming of. I was very interested in psychology and
Okay.
truth, and already as a small child, when I was 8, I was starting to have these thoughts of what is truth and what is reality, and so I was very deep and spiritual and weird and different in many ways. Uh, but I had every opportunity to be bullied as a child,
Mm,
and I was not. I was not bullied, and it was
wow.
not until I encountered, when I started doing astrology. I From the very beginning I was interested in two things that are like sort of
Okay.
core. One is asteroids, and the other
Okay.
one harmonic aspects.
Okay.
So, and that they fell into my lap like first day practically. So I've
Okay.
always been into that. And then I've taken 2 classes with the great master Rick Levine
Wow.
in harmonic aspect. I've taken more classes with him. He's really one of my astrological
Hmm.
mentors. But when I took one of the classes, we were going to send in. We could send in our charts, and he would look at the aspect, and
Sure.
if some of them were like would show something that he could like teach on, he would pick that. And I sent mine in, and I said, if he does not pick mine, I have not understood anything about harmonic
Uh-huh.
aspect. He picked it. And
Uh-huh.
what I understood from my quintiles, it was my quintiles that saved me from being bullied.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
Because before I did not understand why, because I had everything against me. I was born out of wedlock. My father's African American. And I mean, we're talking 1959. It was
Yeah.
like,
That. Yeah.
that was like really odd. My mother was a well-known writer, and she wrote controversial stuff about female sexuality and all those things. Erica Jong,
Mm-hmm.
the writer? Yeah. My mother was before her, and she was like writing
Really?
all of those. Yeah, so it was like really controversial. Then I looked different because everyone was blonde and blue eyed and I was not.
Yeah.
And then I had my club feet. So for my first 7 years, more or less, off and on and off, I was going in a baby carriage because I could not walk because I had
Right.
plastic cast. So there were so many things, and then I had all these deep thoughts. So many things that could have put me in the position of
Yes.
being bullied because I was different in so many
Right.
ways.
Right.
But I was a popular child, and when I see my quintiles, it's like that's the reason.
That's the reason why. That is so. No, I that is so neat. I mean, it just makes me want to go and dig so much deeper into my all of my. I mean, that just
I really encourage digging into the chart and digging into how you can use it here and now. I had a client last fall. We did it 1 month
okay.
of. We met 3 times, and I looked through. I had worked with her before with her chart, so you have to. I want to look through. We have to work through your chart first before we do anything else.
Okay.
We bought this 3-session program, and we were going through her coming year.
Okay.
Month. And then every once in a while I get a little report because I say, here, look out for this, and this is probably going on, and that this could be really challenging, and perhaps some kind of romance here, and da da da.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. April was like, whoo, yeah.
Yeah.
And I met someone. You don't say. That is the thing. So if you see in your chart, let's say that you want to meet someone, and the chart says no. I mean, with the transit,
Right.
no. Then it's like, okay, perhaps you should not like be so into that, and you can like relax, because perhaps next year this is more open. And if it says this is the time to find a partner, then you have to go out and do some dating. You cannot sit at home and expect
that is true. Yes.
the planets to do it for you and just wait.
It's just all going to come right to you. Yes. Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen. So, but it will show you this is the time to go out and expose yourself, and it will be possible to find someone if you're interested.
Yeah.
That is what she did, and she found someone, or he found her, or whatever.
That is so cool.
They found each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to, like anything, you have to go out and do the actions and do something with it. So it just doesn't going to come.
Go out. You got to take the risk. You got to take the risk.
You do. Yeah, exactly. Coming back to risk. It is. It's all down to that. I mean, just everything that I could have kept on doing what I was doing before I started doing this, but which was successful. And it's just like this is definitely it's been a journey and a process, but it's growing every day. And I love it too. So
Yes.
So Stella, before we end the podcast, anything else you want to tell the audience today?
I want to say 2 things.
Okay.
One, I have an app.
Awesome.
And the app's name is Cosmic Strategies, and you can download it from App Store or from Google Play.
Okay.
You can also go to www.cosmicstrategies.app, and there you will find a accompanying site that has about the same information. You can download it to your phone, and you can log in, create your own. It's free.
Okay.
Toggle, if you're on the app, you toggle the push notifications, and about once a week I send something out. So that is like for personal development and a little astrology. There will be more, but it's very little so far. And there I have gathered a lot of my information and knowledge through the years. A lot of videos that I have recorded before that are on personal development. So some of them are like 6 years, 10 years, but the material is still 100% valid. So I listen through everything, I publish it. So I'm saying things that I'm still standing for. So that's one thing. Go download it. Doesn't cost anything. And this is one of my most important messages for anyone at any time. And that is, there's nothing wrong with you. There has never been anything wrong with you. Whatever struggles you're going through or have been going through are there. And the way you have been handling them has been survival mechanisms. So if you are running around and telling yourself that you should do this and you should do that and you're not enough of this and then not, just ditch it all. There's no such thing as self-destructive behavior, because
Mhm.
everything you do is always for survival in the best way possible. There's nothing wrong with you.
That's great wisdom to end the podcast with. And yes, Stella, thank you for joining us on the Dreamcatcher podcast. And
Thank you so much for doing it. It's been delightful.
yeah, it has. And I look forward to keeping in touch and doing more podcasts. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we know we're going to. Yes. So anyway, Stella, have a good rest of your day, and we'll be talking to you later then.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye.